Have you ever hailed an Uber or Lyft? For many, it's become a common way to get around, especially after a night out. But have you ever felt uneasy about getting into a ride with a stranger? Maybe your gut told you something was off. But what if it was? You ignored it? Today, you are going to hear a story that will make you think twice before you ever press request again. On February 20th, 2016, in Michigan, USA, a young man reported a terrifying incident. He claimed he got into an Uber with a driver, a seemingly normal guy named Jason Dalton, but soon he realized his driver was a dangerous criminal. However, the driver's explanation for his actions was something that would shock everyone. So buckle up and prepare to ride along as we explore the chilling tale of Jason Dalton, the Uber driver who vanished without a trace, leaving behind a nightmare that continues to haunt us today. For more thrilling mysteries, stay tuned. The first trip started like any other. On February 20th, 2016, a man entered an Uber. He had just finished a shift at work and needed a ride home. As he slid into the seat, he noticed that his driver, Jason Dalton, was chatting away cheerfully. He asked about the driver's day, discussed local sports teams, and joked about the unpredictable Michigan weather. In fact, the conversation was so normal that the customer forgot he was even being recorded by the Uber camera. That was until things took an unexpected turn. Jason received a call. His demeanor shifted dramatically. He stopped smiling and became unusually silent. He seemed distant, eyes blank and unresponsive. It was unsettling, like the driver had suddenly shut down. Then came the acceleration. The car surged forward, ignoring the red traffic light. Adrenaline surged through the passenger as they screeched through the intersection, but it was only the beginning. They zoomed past the speed limit, weaving in and out of traffic, each near collision bringing them closer to disaster. It felt like a high-speed chase scene from a movie. The passenger recalls being pinned against the headrest, heart pounding as they hurtled towards another red light. Would Jason slam on the brakes, or worse, would he accelerate right through? To their horror, he pressed down harder on the accelerator, sending the vehicle flying over the intersection. As they careened down the street, the passenger felt a mix of fear and confusion. Who was this driver? What had caused this sudden transformation? In the midst of the chaos, they tried to understand the silence. Where was Jason? Had he passed out? The realization sent shivers down their spine. They were now in the hands of fate, trapped inside a speeding car with an unresponsive driver. Their hearts raced as they looked for an escape, praying for a miracle to happen. Suddenly, Jason stirred. His eyes, which had been vacant, now flickered back to life. He slammed on the brakes, jolting the passenger forward. He turned to them, a faint smile on his lips, and said casually, "Sorry about that. My wife texted me about dinner plans. I got a little distracted." But his words did little to ease the terror gripping the passenger. The smile didn't reach his eyes, which still held a chilling emptiness. It was as if they had survived a near-fatal accident with a man who was barely there. The rest of the ride was tense. The passenger couldn't shake off the feeling that something was very wrong. When they finally reached their destination, the passenger practically ran out of the car. They never looked back, shaken by what had transpired. They had survived an Uber ride gone horribly wrong. But as it turns out, this was only the start of a much larger nightmare. Hours later, news reports surfaced, claiming that the Uber driver from earlier was wanted in connection with a series of shootings. It seems Jason hadn't just taken a wrong turn. He had embarked on a terrifying rampage. As authorities dug deeper, they uncovered a pattern of erratic behavior. Apparently, Jason had used his position as an Uber driver to target unsuspecting passengers. His motive, pure evil. Days passed, and each new piece of information painted a grimmer picture. Jason was linked to multiple shooting incidents, each more disturbing than the last. He had used his access to commit heinous acts, leaving a trail of devastation in his wake. But as the net tightened around Jason, he vanished, leaving behind a community in shock and fear. Everywhere was plastered with his face, every headline echoing the same chilling narrative. Authorities scoured every street corner hoping for a lead, but Jason seemed to have evaporated into thin air. It was a desperate search, a race against time to find a man who had turned into a ghost. Yet in the darkest corners of the city, whispers circulated, rumors of a phantom driver haunting the streets. Could there be truth to these tales? Or were they just shadows dancing in the dim light of fear? Jason's story took another bizarre twist when he was finally tracked down. When the police confronted him, his explanation was nothing short of madness. He claimed he wasn't in control. He argued that the Uber app itself had taken over his mind, compelling him to commit unspeakable acts. In his defense, he stated, "I was picked up by the devil. Satan entered my body and compelled me to commit these acts. I am a father, a husband, a son. I am not a monster." This revelation raised more questions than it answered. Was he truly possessed by the devil, or was it a cunning ploy to evade justice? Adding to the puzzle, Jason revealed that he had stopped taking medication for mental health issues, a detail that shed light on his deteriorating state. But it didn't explain his horrifying actions. With each passing day, the mystery deepened. The community grappled with the question, how could a seemingly ordinary man commit such atrocities? And was he truly possessed? Months turned into years, but the memory of Jason Dalton and his chilling alibi refused to fade. It echoed through the corridors of the justice system, leaving an indelible mark on those who heard it. The court, however, remained unconvinced by his possessed driver defense. The verdict was unanimous. Jason Dalton was guilty. As the gavel came down, ending his trial, a collective sigh of relief swept through the courtroom. Justice had been served. And yet, as Jason Dalton was led away, his cryptic statement lingered in the air. Was he truly possessed? Or had he masterminded the ultimate escape plan? Years have passed since that fateful day in February 2016. The city has moved on, but the shadow of Jason Dalton still looms. Today, he remains locked away in a secure facility. His story, a chilling reminder of the darkness that can lurk beneath the surface of normalcy. Now let's move on to our final question. As we delve into the depths of this chilling tale, we invite you to reflect on your own experiences with ride-sharing services. Have you ever encountered a driver who seemed a bit off? Or perhaps you've seen questionable behavior among passengers? Share your stories in the comments below. Let's talk about it.